Welcome back to PhaseTwo podcast. Today we have a very controversial guest. One of our oldest friends, Mac's with us today. Very happy to have Mac on. Mac is one of definitely our most colorful, interesting friends. Can we do a cheers before we get started?
Here's to you, Mac.
Morning cheers, guys. Good seeing you guys again. Cheers.
So Mac, you said that you haven't had morning beers for how long?
I'm gonna say
5
last time. Oh, dude. I'm gonna say, what is it?
It's been a day.
11 months.
11 months.
11 months.
You marked it on your calendar.
Well, morning saying like if I'm out and it becomes morning.
That's still night beers. That's still night beers.
So
Even
like,
if the sun's coming out.
Yeah. So like waking up.
I think the last time I saw you, because it's been a while. The last time I saw you, you were on a cleanse where you weren't drinking at all.
So this is what I do.
How'd that work out?
No.
Morning beer ruined that?
No. So in a year, I'll take 3 months completely off of booze. Because like the liver takes like 3 months to fully regenerate.
Is that science or is that your theory?
That's kind of like science.
Is
so
it?
like I'll take 3 months off.
Wait, kind of science or is science?
It is science, yeah. That's
Okay.
for most somewhat healthy people, it takes about 3 months for the liver.
regenerate?
Yeah, it's fully regenerate.
Gotcha.
Well, but you drink a lot, so you might look healthy. Like, because there's the eyeball test. We were talking about the eyeball test.
Okay.
So there's all these guys that, like, especially bodybuilders,
Right.
that are actually look healthy but aren't because they're not eating a balanced diet. They're
Right.
doing special things to get shredded. They're taking in too much protein for their body. Like, it's really hard on their kidneys, liver,
No.
but they look healthy.
I agree.
So even though you might look healthy, if you drink more than average, your whole body could be healthy, but your liver might not be healthy.
So
It might not be average. You
right,
know what I'm saying?
So I did the 건강검진 test.
Mm-hmm.
So I do it every August. So this past August I did it. If you pay like $1,000, you can do like a 3-hour test.
Yeah, I know, the cane.
Yeah.
We did ours just recently.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How old are you physically?
I think I'm like close to my age, but I'm like 1 year younger or something
Mine
like
came out 31.
31? I want to see that. I don't
I'll
believe
bring it to you next time, man. I'll bring it to you
I don't
next
believe
time.
it.
That's amazing.
Because there's no way your liver health is going to be 31.
Yeah, because that's like the perception. Because like,
Right.
Because I'm
No.
a social drinker. I'm a social
Yeah.
drinker. Like I never, like I don't even have alcohol at the crib. Like I don't drink normally. Like
Wait, so like the test comes out and it tells your full body, and then it says that your full body is age 31.
my physical age is 31. Like
It's like
American
건강
age.
나이, right?
Yeah, 건강 나이. You're
Yeah.
my physical
So then
age
that
is
means that
31.
like the 3 months of like staying away from alcohol, like going clean.
But I've been doing that.
Wait, do you
I've
do
been
it?
doing
Do you
that
do
for
the?
5 years though?
Do you do the test right after the 3-month cleanse?
It depends. It's not always. It's not always on. I don't do it for that. I do it to feel good.
Well, you know what Eric was mentioned on one of our previous podcasts is the number one thing that people don't do that they should do in our age group is get the 건강검진.
yeah.
And of course, in America where it's expensive, people don't do it. Out here, you can get it for free or you can pay to get the more in-depth one, the one that you got.
Right.
So
That was only my second time doing that though. I started doing that like right when I turned 40. I was like, I want to like.
you ever got your colon cleansed?
Nah.
Not in the hospital.
You know, the thing is, that we never thought about it because when we were playing, we did it every year as our physical, right?
Yeah.
We would
Yeah.
go and we were so, oh, we got the physical, and then we never look at it, or at least I didn't,
Yeah.
you know. But now
Colon
that
cancer.
we're over 40, like they say there's certain checks that you're supposed to do this, do that, do whatever. And so now because the
Right.
government gives it for us for free out here, we're lucky. Thank you, Korea.
This year, ours were a little different, even though we're only 2 years apart. I think I had like a pre-cancer checkup, and then Eric, I think you had already done that, so you didn't
Right.
have it. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
But
yeah,
they're pretty similar for our age group.
Yeah.
But I think the next one is the colon cleanse. Though I'm like a little scared about having.
Make sure
you
you
know,
go to
Mac's very comfortable, more comfortable, I would say.
Come on, Doc.
Come on, Doc. Okay, so Mac.
But
so
you've gotten the colon cleanse.
Yeah, yeah,
Like what's like?
you have
yeah. I
What's the
did.
process?
what?
Yeah,
What's the
I
process like?
How do I not know this?
I mean, you go and you just have the test. They
What?
you out.
Like,
Get in details. I need details, bro.
come on, Doc.
But wait, you guys are the same age. You
Yeah,
should
we're
have
the
had
same
it.
age.
You should have had it.
No, I didn't.
you should.
I mean, I did. It's just
You would know.
No,
You would know.
no, but you get a text from the government saying you got to do it right this year.
I didn't get a text. I was just like, well, like you're over 40, you're supposed
Oh
to do it.
wow.
No, I got a text when I turned 40.
They asked you also, like when I went there, they're like, do you want, because like you can pick on your things like which ones that you want.
Oh, yeah.
So when I went and like I checked that thing because like I had never had it done.
Do they put you out, or is it just?
You can go either way.
What did you do?
Go to sleep.
Like, I want to know.
I was like, no, I'm gonna go to sleep. Go ahead and put me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did that for the. Did you do Neishigun?
Yeah, I did.
What's it called?
I did that
Endoscopy?
everywhere. Yeah. They put you out. Yeah.
Yeah, they said that like a lot of older people don't get put out.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Dude,
oh,
I can't imagine.
I can
save 50
There's
bucks.
impossible, man.
You do save $50.
But that's impossible. You can't.
But the
you
funny
can't.
thing is,
Most-
older people that are
crazy.
weaker than us do it, and all the young people get put out.
Dude, so
What does that say about our generation? We're a bunch of soft.
No, I have a story, dude. So when I was, I'm gonna say 22, I came out to Korea. I got Nation for the first time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up in the middle of it, and like
Oh, that happens. They say that happens frequently.
dude, like, I thought I was dying.
But you have no
felt like
gag
dying.
reflex, so how did that? Really? Well, no,
Come on,
okay,
come
so
on,
keep going, keep
like-
going. What happened? What happened? So you wake up in the middle, you feel like you're choking?
You just feel like you're dying. You're like, there's no way I should be fucking
It's painful.
surviving. Dude, it's not even pain. It's just
Even with
You have a tube down
the,
your
you're just
throat.
panicking.
You have a tube down your throat.
so it's,
You have a tube down your
because the
throat. You're
anesthetic should
panicking.
take care of the pain, right?
You can't breathe.
you're just panicked because of the situation.
You're just scared as fuck. There's no way you would want to do
You know,
that.
they said like
sober.
I was listening to Joe Rogan, and they were talking about like how we breathe through our mouth or our nose.
You should be only breathing through your nose. though.
Like-
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
And so if we were doing what we're supposed to be doing, like those type of things wouldn't bother you, because like we're used to breathing through our mouth now, right? Which
right.
Mouth
actually-
breathers.
which actually isn't supposed to be good for us.
Right. I saw that same
Because you were
podcast.
you were saying that like I didn't know this either, but I guess babies only breathe through their nose.
Yeah, babies are born. So when a baby gets a cold and his nose gets stuffed up,
Can't breathe.
it's really terrible. You have to stay up all night sucking out because he can't figure out to breathe through his mouth.
Yeah.
So baby, it's really serious for babies. We had that happen with my first baby, and it was just hell. That's why like Korean moms are like so like 감기 걸려, like they don't let you go out without a hat, a coat.
Yeah.
But in America, you know, it's not such a big deal. But I think it's kind of like, I don't know, PTSD from that or whatever.
That's how you know we're getting old. We talk about health literally all day long.
I know. Okay, so Mac.
Yo, that's-
Mac. So we're still in the introduction of
That
Mac.
means that means we're getting old.
So Mac, hold on. Like I think my brother hasn't seen you in 3 years. I haven't seen you in like probably 2.
Yeah,
But what the fuck have you been doing? Like when I look at your Instagram, it looks like you've been in Bali a lot. Like,
past 2 years. Well, this year because of COVID, I've been in Korea, but like, I got a business license in the Philippines and in Indonesia because I wanted to do stuff out there. And Philippines, I didn't pull the trigger yet, but Bali, I've actually invested in stuff. But like because of COVID, like I'm pulling out and I'm gonna base something in Korea. Like
did you like that? The pull-out move.
come on, Dad.
Mac.
So you're pulling out. So you're pulling out of
There's
your
so
overseas endeavors, and you're coming back to Korea.
I mean, I'm gonna be based here. I don't think I want to spend that much time here. Probably like half the year at most.
Right, because it seems like you're always kind of like you're doing stuff, but you want to like move and shake. Like you're going abroad, you're doing. You know, seems like you're kinda,
I don't mind base camp being here, but
right.
This is a great base camp.
yeah, it's a good.
Korea's great.
And like for the first time in my life, like having good health insurance and like
Oh yeah.
it's the first time that it mattered. So it's like, dude, like, I don't want to be based in Bali, dude. Like that's scary to be based not in Korea right now. Even in America, I wouldn't even want to be in America right now.
Let me tell you a story. Like on that exact same note, right? We were in Bali. We went there to surf because we just knew to retire. And we're like, you know what? Let's fucking get out of Korea. Let's go and enjoy our life. We go to Singapore and we get some of the famous like fish head stew and all this kind of stuff, right? And we fly to Bali to go surfing. Get there and Dee's like, man, I don't like feel that good. And it's like, nah, it'll probably wear off. We'll just fight through it, right? Go to like the jungle clinic and get an IV, right? Like we'd normally do it
my God.
like in here, right? Not getting better. We're like, yeah, let's surf. We're here on vacation. We're in this super sick villa over in Canggu. We're like fucking set up, right?
Sickest I've been.
He's not getting better, right? And all of a sudden, like middle of the night, he's like, we gotta go. We have to go to the airport and go back to Korea.
I was gonna die, man.
What?
I was like drenched in cold sweat, chitter chattering, like when you I had jungle fever, bro.
Bro, it's crazy. We're in fucking Bali in this dope ass fucking villa. Like
We
so
have the
nice,
nicest villa.
right? And he's sweating his ass off, can't enjoy it. I'm like, dude, it's fucking hot as shit out here. Why are you cold? He's like, it's fucking cold, man. I need blankets.
Eric's like, well, I'm gonna go surf and I'll come check back on you like tomorrow.
Turns out we had to fucking medevac him out. He had pneumonia,
What?
right? So like we were obviously we've been very
Pneumonia.
thankful.
I went straight to the.
Man.
No, we've been very thankful for like how Korea has treated us because of the medical system. But that was probably one of the first times we were like, you know what?
And it wasn't like a money issue because I went to various Bali clinics.
The best.
And
The best.
well, I mean, whatever they had in over there in Seminyak and stuff. And it's just they didn't have what I needed. So, and this is crazy to think about in COVID. I'm shivering, fever. I just get on a plane and go back to Korea. Can you imagine now if I go into the airport sweating with the fever and, respiratory disease like pneumonia and try to get on a plane to go.
Travel.
Like I would be stuck in Bali and have to deal with whatever they had. I go straight to the Korean ER and they fix me up like that. And it was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, every time I have a major health issue, even when I was in the States, I get taken care of in Korea.
Most of our Kyopo friends do the same thing.
Yeah,
a while ago, our friend Tiffany had a back issue and she came over here and had surgery.
Yeah, dude, it's just so much better.
Yeah.
Just so
I mean, the
much
Korean
better.
system is even if you're not a Korean citizen, we're lucky because we get this amazing healthcare service for so cheap.
Right.
Like basically pennies on the dollar, right?
It is.
But then if you're a foreigner, it's still a lot of times cheaper to take the flight, pay for
really
the hotel
is.
and everything to get the
It
service.
really
here.
is.
So there's a new law, and the only reason I know this is because my son was born in America and he didn't have Korean citizenship. He does now, but at first he didn't. But he had a visa to stay in Korea. If you have a visa, if you're not a long-term, if you're not a tourist, tourists don't get it. But if you're an English teacher, if you're military, whatever, well, not military, but if you're a businessman or whatever, you have a long-term visa. Now, 외국인s get automatic health insurance after 3 months.
Wow.
So if you have a year visa to do business or to study, after 3 months, you will automatically get put into the Korean system and get the same healthcare that you and I get.
Wow.
So it's pretty dope. But, now Jack's got basically free healthcare because he's under daddy's plan and whatever. But
So you came back and you're going to be here for a while. You're taking advantage of the healthcare system. What else is going on, man? What kind of business endeavors are you doing here?
I'm gonna get into the health business, man.
right.
Business,
You kind of mentioned that downstairs. Tell us a little bit more about it.
So this whole year, the whole COVID craziness, I started training myself at home and outside, and I didn't go to gyms at all this year. And basically what I was doing was I had a backpack on and I would put 25 kilos in. I would do squats with it outside, lunges, push-ups. And I was like, dude,
Where, Hangang?
just anywhere, just a random basketball court with random. Come on, dog.
You might need a new
Doing
program.
the arms.
No, but so I was thinking nobody has a portable gym, So I was thinking
Right.
go that route without going into detail.
Well, that's huge.
Yeah.
I've noticed, Eric did quarantine twice.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You were on that home training thing hard. I've been on the home training because of all the injuries and I can't go to the gym.
Yeah.
So E, what do you think? Okay, E, are you buying Mac's product?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, you have to look at it, and whatever. But I mean, it's a great idea. If some of that, that was available, I'd definitely look into it because
You have invested all previously.
Right.
E's got all kinds of stuff. E's got bands. You got the roller. You're always at your house. I mean, that was given to
I
you
got
by.
all of that. As well.
Eric's really big on home training.
Yeah.
See, I go to a gym where most of that's there. But even with COVID and stuff, I've been doing more home training and my gym membership is just going to waste.
I mean, the reality is it depends what your fitness goals are, right?
Right.
But most people what they need to achieve their goals is not an entire gym.
You don't need all that. You
I
need
agree.
to know.
100%.
I mean, when we were playing basketball and going, you need a different kind of thing. You need a lot of this other stuff, right? But for basic fitness and for most people's fitness goals,
you don't need all that.
what you could probably, fit in a
Backpack.
in a backpack. or
Exactly.
whatever. What you could do in that, you could, probably just take care of what you need.
So if you look at the older generation, the generation before us, maybe our parents, maybe our aunts and uncles, everyone's house has a Bowflex, a Nordic track,
Bowflex.
like a Nordic track.
Nordic track, I
All
remember
this equipment that didn't work.
With the Billy Blanks and stuff.
I know with my father, with that older generation, they don't go to the gym because of the equipment, although that's part of the reason. They go because they feel more motivated at a gym instead of being distracted at home by the fridge, the TV, or work. A lot of people, they'll start working out and then they'll think about emails or something. And so do you think our generation is different? Do you think the younger generation is different? I definitely feel like there's more of a trend towards home working out. You see it all over. I'm getting pop-up ads on Instagram all the time.
Yeah,
what do you think? What do you say to people say that I'm not motivated at home?
just from my perspective, I've always been self-motivated, so I never understood like lazy motherfucker.
But you know that makes you different.
So this
You right?
I don't think
would
I'm
you
so
agree with
different.
that?
Like you're self-motivated. You don't. Nobody. Needs
But
to
we're
tell you
pro
that.
athletes. We're different.
Yeah, I guess.
So look at this. Like the app that I downloaded in the summertime that like helped me like kind of start on this was an app called Freeletics, which my brother introduced me to. Right.
Okay.
So like I went and I checked this app out, and one of the nice things about this app is that you pay the base entry like membership fee, and then you get a coach. So like whatever you can pick your program, you can have like a 10-week program, 3-month program, whatever you want to do that fits you, however many times you want to work out, and then they have a person that kind of walks you through, which is nice because the motivation is tough. Like, are most people self-motivated? I don't know. We happen to be that type of person, but I know a lot of people that aren't, that need that environment. You know?
So what do you say? Do you think the trend towards home training is just gonna sweep and it's gonna help your business, or do you think there's like what do you think about that?
I definitely think it's not just a trend. More people are gonna do home training.
I'd agree.
And not just at home, but like so the whole thing with my idea is like you can do the home training, but it's also portable, so you can take it out to the park, neighborhood, wherever you want,
Bro,
dude. Like
no, like exactly. Like when I was in Romania, like down the street from like my wife's house where she lives in Bucharest, there's a huge like lake park, right? And in the morning we go and walk the dog, and you'd see people that are doing yoga, doing PT, doing all that kind of stuff out there with these trainers that have like this bag of stuff,
right?
And they're training in the park.
The bag, like it'll have wheels on it. You can carry like a carry-on, put it on your back, like all in one gym.
It's a whole kit.
A whole kit.
And I also think that's a big thing too.
That's a good idea.
Is I personally like being outdoors. I don't like being where they're recycling the COVID air inside my gym. Yeah. And it's always that dusty gym, you know, because of the mats and everyone tracks shit in there, and it's everyone breathing heavily and sweat smell.
No one likes the smell of a gym.
And it's always nice to be hiking or
Dude, that's
outside.
Exactly what I was doing. So it's called a home workout, but basically I was taking out my backpack, going to a random basketball court, climbing up mountains and doing like, I had the freedom to go everywhere with this fucking one backpack, and like to improve on it, I think like it's for the masses, I think.
So is PhaseTwo? Are we getting sponsored by?
I'm not PhaseTwo, but Double Dragon's getting a
Okay, we'll touch on that because that's also something we want to touch on.
So hold on.
But we're at the 15-minute mark.
Right. So
what you got for us?
So before we do like a little section here where we I'm gonna ask you a couple different things.
All right.
And then you're gonna give me just your choice. So I'm gonna give you two things, and you pick one. Okay.
Okay.
No softballs. Give them the hard balls.
Give them the hard balls first. All right. You ready, Mac?
Yeah.
All right. Lakers or Dodgers?
Lakers.
Okay.
Interesting.
Not even close.
LeBron or Jordan?
Again, not even close. MJ all day.
Louis Vuitton or Nike?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'll stick with Nike.
Sunshine or rain?
Sunshine or rain. Wow, they're both equally. I'll go sunshine.
Bali or LA?
I go Bali.
Interesting.
Agreed.
For the LA native.
No.
Surf or snowboard?
Surf. Not even close.
Jordans or Chucks?
Damn. I like both. You gotta go with Jays though.
You gotta go with the Jays?
Go with the Jays.
Black or white?
Black.
We're talking about chicks.
Gangnam by day or Gangnam by night?
I'm never usually here during the day, so at night.
You don't know what Gangnam looks like?
He doesn't know what it looks like.
This is my first
Where
time,
are we?
But because of y'all, like it's my first time seeing Gangnam at daytime, yo.
All right, last question. Basketball or MMA?
Wow. That's tough. I'll say hoop since I'm with the hoop boys now.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll go hoop.
Okay, so Matt, about 3 years ago, me and Eric and you, we'd always be out. We'd always be having a fun time out. You know, the night scene in Seoul is very vibrant. And then me and Eric left the scene.
Right. So
just wanting to know, is it still in good hands? Like, do we need to return to, like, say, are you managing what we've bequeathed you? Like, is
our dreams are hanging in the rafters. Do we need to come out of retirement?
Honestly, I don't even know, because nowadays, like, they got Tinder, and do people even go to clubs? Do they meet people organically like how we used to?
Honestly, I haven't been club in Korea.
You're just swiping.
Here.
You're just swiping.
No, I mean I'm going to bars and stuff.
I feel like most of our hubes, like in the sukso, they just swipe.
Yeah.
They're swipe. Like they have no feeling in their thumbs. They're just.
All right, but these are other guys like that, Max, like a
old school.
You're old school.
Do it yourself.
We're the same age. Like, what is dating like now in Korea?
I mean, there's so many different types of dates you can go on, just in Seoul. Like, if I meet somebody in Cheongdam, and then I meet somebody in Hongdae,
that's not my question though. My question is like,
just overall.
How has it changed? How has
like,
it changed?
Are there good date spots in Korea? Because obviously we know. Like, oh, if I take a girl to Hongdae, we can have a nice Italian dinner. Man, come on, man.
Man, it hasn't changed much, honestly.
It hasn't changed much?
It hasn't changed.
So,
be real.
So, okay. So, here's the thing with basketball, right? So, they take 90s hoopers. So, we're like 90s hoopers, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, our generation is the best for dating and nightlife, right?
Actually,
like, we went through Circle, Eden. I mean, we met you at, I don't even remember when I met you, but we met.
I remember first time meeting him.
How do we meet?
Do you remember the first time meeting?
I'm glad I'm not memorable in your.
No, I remember. So,
okay, go ahead.
I'll do E first. I'll do E first.
Go ahead. I don't even.
So I met you before.
I have no recollection.
So it was New Year's Eve. That's how I remember. And I was at that hotel, and I was at a party.
What hotel? Eden?
No,
Ritz-Carlton?
No, Walker Hill, I think.
Oh.
And you, and
I remember that. I was there too.
Yeah, so I had already
Far East movement was there.
Yeah, so I went to elementary school with James. So he like,
okay,
whatever. Like I was at the thing, and then you guys were outside, and you're like, "Dude, do you have extra tickets?" Me, Ian, our Tongseng from Daegu. I don't remember her name, but one of the homies from Daegu. It was you three on New Year's Eve. I was with like a bunch of people. You're like, "Yo, like, you got extra tickets?" I'm like, "Oh, I can go ask." It was New Year's Eve. That's how I remember. And then that's when I first met you.
Wasn't that like LMFAO was playing or something?
Dude, this was like my guess is 7 years ago.
I just remember Far East, but there was a bunch of acts.
Yeah, that was the first time I met you. That was the first time I met you. First time meeting you, first time I played basketball with you is the first time I actually remember meeting you.
Was it like one of those runs with Eddie at like a church or something?
No, it was at SNU.
Oh, that's way back. That's like my first year.
This was 10 years ago, dude.
No, this was 15 years ago, bro.
No.
Yeah.
I was not in Korea 15 years ago. This was 10 years ago. I'll say exactly 10 years ago.
Okay.
It couldn't have been because
I never played at SNU then.
Yes, you did. You came with
that means
the little short guard.
He would have been playing pro.
The little shifty kid.
Jake.
No.
Rich?
That kid. Is he the kid from LA?
Yeah.
So you came with him. And I was there with like Eddie and Chang, like those days. This is before Eddie made it to KBL. And I think you were already in the league, I think. But those kids were trying to be in the league.
It's possible that I went to SNU, but my SNU days when I used to go there regularly was like 15 years ago.
No, it wasn't regularly.
That wouldn't make sense.
Because I was going regularly. You showed up only
It wouldn't
once.
make sense for you to be a pro going to play over there.
No, but I did. I would play streetball every now and again.
Yeah, he came once. And I remember because...
I would get sick of Korean basketball and go play.
Your guy was guarding me, and I was draining threes. You're like, you got really mad at him. It's like, man, don't let that guy score anymore. And then I'm like, oh, like
I do.
I'm gonna get along with him, and we're gonna bump heads once in a while. Cause like
I yell at.
Yeah, cause he had standards of like he had like like this motherfucker wants to win. Like I like that. So I still remember, but he fucking dominated the board because like everybody was like 6 feet tall. And he.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But I do have this bad habit of yelling at people. And then they're like, "Who's this asshole yelling at me? I'm here for recreation." But yeah, okay. Yeah. So, are you seeing anybody right now? Are you single?
Super single.
Single. Aggressively single.
Okay, so
semi.
You said this before we got on air that you're a hopeless romantic. That you.
I think I'm a
you're
deep.
looking for that relationship, right?
Sure.
Do you think that it's really gonna happen?
I have not.
I mean, you really want that? You really want to get like married, have a family, and all that kind of stuff, or just have?
Ideally, I do.
So it was okay. Let me interrupt. So Eric, by your stance, you seem to not believe Mac. I'm just getting that.
I don't.
Tell me why.
I mean, knowing Mac, knowing all that we've been through, it doesn't seem like you like, and obviously I haven't seen you in a while, but from what I remember, and obviously things may be different now, but it seems like you're enjoying your life, which is awesome, and you should. But like, if that's the goal, like what changes have you made in your life that you're trying to actually find that?
But it's not about changes or anything. It's just the climate that we're in. Like,
I agree.
We literally play sports and drink. It's we have a very locker room relationship, Like we're pounding drinks, like we're hooping. So like when I'm on a date with some, like, I'm a completely different person.
No, I understand that you're not
Right.
dating me,
Right.
but like you're out there and like it seems like you're dating and then you're going through like girls, like you're trying to find that one, right? And maybe like I don't know how long your relationship lasts or whatever it is, but like it doesn't seem to me on the outside looking in and not knowing all these intricacies, like it just doesn't. I don't know. I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way in a sense where like I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and it's like I feel like the older I get, the faster I know when someone's not right for me. Whereas when you're 20s, you're like, oh, like I could be better, but you make excuses to like you're in
you see red flags.
you see red flags, and you're in a relationship longer than you should be.
Yes.
Thinking for the best, and as you get older, like, dude,
But it's also okay. So I'll speak to that for a second. So you do know, and I agree with that, but I also think we do make the mistake of preemptively. Like I could be on a first date and say something, and then I'll just be like, oh no. But do you think you also kind of go? There's times when you're doing it and you're 100% spot on. Like that's stuff. But do you also think there's times where you don't give people a fair shot?
For sure.
Like where you're like, oh, you said that? No. I don't want to go on a second date. I don't want to go on a third date.
For sure.
But then maybe after the second or third date, you'd be like, yeah, they disagree with, and we have a little bit different values, but this other stuff makes up for it. But they don't get the chance to.
No.
You don't think you make preemptive strikes?
I for sure do. I'm consciously aware of that though.
So then how, like, okay, so then if we all know that, and this is how things go when you get older, right? Yeah. You see things and you have less patience. You're like, man, I know where this is going. I don't want to go down that road. I've been down it when I was 15 or 20 or whatever, right? So you see that, and then you cut things off early or when you should, right? Because we don't have the patience that we did when we were 20, right?
Nah.
So then how do you think that you're gonna meet the one and everything's gonna be like, dude, this is just exactly what I'm waiting for?
I'm learning as I go. I don't know. I don't have the answers. You guys probably know better.
I think like every relationship, I think is like, there's no perfect relationship out there.
Right.
It's like, there's the evil that you know, there's evil that you don't. You're just going to take a chance on whatever way you decide to go down, Like, there's no like, dude, this is perfect, everything is amazing. Oh my God, there's no fights, blah, blah. That's fucking fantasy. So it's like, you see this person, no one's perfect. You're not, I'm not.
Right.
So like, they got to deal with us, which is harder to deal with as we get older and we have less patience.
I'm for sure. Yeah, that's for sure.
But then we have to deal with whatever there is. And it's like, do you want to go down that road and make that sacrifice?
But I do have a point of reference though, because I feel like out of all the women I've dated since I started dating in junior high, I think there's 4 girls that I could have married and I could have been happy with.
Ooh, I was gonna bring this up. Yeah.
Yeah. There's 4 people that it's very vividly I could be like, dude, like I could have married her. I wasn't ready at the time.
Because honestly, when I was thinking this when I was single before I met my wife, is the sacrifice we have to make you have to be super selfish to last this long, like people like us.
For sure.
To last this long being single, you have to make super sacrifices. You have to cut people that probably shouldn't be cut. You have to like be super individualistic, be like, my path is more important than pretty much anything. Like if you're gonna stand in front and listening to more podcasts and stuff, you hear stuff about like Elon Musk, and they all kind of say this. If we're dating, it's cool, but if you get in front of me where I want to go, then you're done. Even though that might have been your soulmate, that might have been whatever. So you kind of get to that point, and me and my wife talk about this. Is like if we want to have kids, we've had some big doozies of fights, and I told her, and she's told me that like we wouldn't be together, like being how I was before I had kids. You just don't, like if you had a huge, like you right now, if you had a big fight with whoever you're dating, it's probably just like, what's the point of like, let's stop fighting and you just go do what you want to do.
Exactly.
Right?
On that point, it's like, I think Kevin Hart said it, or Chris Rock or some comedian was like, basically like, you don't know what it's like to be married because when you're dating, you're really not playing with live ammunition. Right?
Yeah.
There's literally no consequence. Like right now, if you're dating some girl, they just piss you off. All right, well, fucking kick rocks. I'll go find another one. You're replaceable.
Right.
When you're married, you got to deal with whatever fire is there, whatever battle.
It's a different thing.
So it's like, it's an easy thing. So like these girls that you've like, before we got married, we're like, all right, you know what? Like I thought I was gonna be single forever, And then I met my wife and like, and we're going down this road, right? But like, do you think that these 4 girls that you think that you could have married, do you think you're maybe chasing a ghost? Because do you compare the current girls to those girls? Be like, I could have married them.
I don't compare them like statistically, like head to head. It's not like that, but I compare the energy though.
What's a 40-yard dash time?
No, like I compare the energy and the things the 4 relationships, the things that are common denominators. The one most important thing is that I felt like I care for that person more than I care for myself, but I felt like she also did the same for me. So like I would use my energy and like try to take care of her, and like my needs weren't getting lost because she was doing the same thing.
So how long did you date these girls, like on average?
On average, maybe like 2.5 years on average.
So, like, in that time, like it's difficult to see these things like within, like, say, like a first date, right?
Right.
So, like, how long would you give a new girl or a girl that you're dating?
But it's so different because like all of these 4 people, like I guess only one is within the past 5 or 10 years. Everything else was probably like when I was in my 20s.
Are your Facebook friends? Can you like see them on your news feed every now and again?
Yeah,
see
dude, like
they gain a lot of weight. No.
one of them looks exactly the same, which is crazy.
Did they get married? Did they have kids?
Yeah.
Living happy lives?
Yeah. All in Cali, all Cali girls.
It's a tough thing. I think a lot of people that haven't gotten to this stage in life, when you're around 40 and you're single and you're happy. I mean, like before we got married, like what life was amazing. Travel the world.
Before we got married, life was amazing.
No, I mean, like when you're looking at like most people are gonna look at you and be like, you're like, why'd you get married, man? Your fucking life is awesome, right? Mm-hmm. So then like now we're married and like it's a different kind of happiness. It's a different kind of challenge, right? But like a lot of people like would look at you and be like, don't get married. You're fucking like living the life, right?
All of our youngs before they're like, don't do it.
No, dude,
and we got homnaso after we got married. Like I remember like a lot of people were like, Weso, like,
dude, I had a family member. So I won't go into specific. He married into our family. He married one of my aunts, and so he visited me when I was in Cali, and he was staying at my crib for a couple of days, and he's like, dude, like you can cook and iron and you can do all this stuff.
Oh, you get good at that stuff.
Obviously, dude. Like in America, like you move out when you're 18 and you kind of do your thing. And he's like, the only reason I got married because I couldn't take care of myself. If you can take care of yourself, he's like, don't get married. I'm like, dude, you're married to my aunt. Like, can you say that?
So your aunt's taking care of him.
I mean, he's a provider, but everything else, like,
well, that's normal. That's the Korean way, right?
But I'm
people don't
so
understand.
not used to stuff
You stay
like that,
single
though.
for long enough, you
get skills, man.
Yeah,
you become a master of being single.
Yeah. Like I'm very self-sufficient, man.
I'm super self-sufficient.
Dude, I love cooking. I love cleaning. I love all that.
Because we're so good at being ourselves and we can do everything ourselves. You're like, when a girl comes in, you're like, what can you bring? How can you make my life better?
That's a real thought.
What do you got to be bringing something special.
Yeah, like how are we partners?
Yeah.
You know, like how are we partners? Like I can provide everything for us. Like what do you bring?
Because it's like this.
Are you funnier than me?
If you're just a pretty face.
Go ahead.
If you're just a pretty face, then you can be replaced anytime.
Yeah, just luggage.
Wow.
But
keeping it real, man.
No,
It's just another mouth
it's
to
true.
feed. It's just another mouth to feed. You got to lug it around like.
I think. So our other good friend, Jason Choi. You know Jason Choi,
yeah.
Right? He's also single, which is amazing. He was engaged at one point.
I think
we said we weren't going to name names on the show, but and he wouldn't care. I don't think he just said something back in the day when he was like, I think it was when he was getting engaged or something, and me and Eric kind of like we heard this and we're like, yeah, that makes sense. We were still playing basketball, and he was like, you want to sell when the stock's high, right? So at some point in your journey as a man, you have your peak. Right? Whatever that may mean. For some people, that peak is like, I've never been more financially successful. Some people, it's, I've never been more athletically successful. Some people, it's, I've never been so physically attractive. Or sometimes it's a combination of those things that's the best combination possible in your whole life arc. Because it will be an arc. Eventually, we'll be 80 and we won't be able to hoop. We won't be, we'll be wrinkled, whatever. Who knows with medical technology, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But even now, I would say that I'm still great. Like I feel great. Everything's good. But I wouldn't say I'm at my peak. Because as far as like when I go out and play basketball, I know I can't move like I used to move, even though I still move all right. Like I still move all right, but I wouldn't say I'm at my peak. I'm a little off my peak, right?
Athletic.
So what do you think about like as far as, and there's also an emotional component, like am I ready for whatever? So when we talk about marriage and in relation to like your peak.
It's a really long question.
Yeah, it's a really long question. And I have to do this because I don't think you guys can follow if I said it simply. So I'm trying to break it down for you guys. Okay, so Mac, where do you think you are, like, as far as your peak, as like your journey as a man?
So this is actually something I consciously think about. I don't know where my peak started, where it's going, but I do know that I want to, at least on an aesthetic and physical level, I want to try to keep my peak as long as possible.
Okay, so you still think that? Let's put it in an easier way.
Okay.
Does 25-year-old Mac
Okay.
have a better experience than 42-year-old Mac?
No.
42-year-old Mac still having a better experience. Like, as far as like pickup game.
Yeah.
You think you're having more fun now than you did when you were 25? Really?
I think so, yeah.
See, for me, like maybe 32-year-old Daniel was killing the pickup runs.
I mean, that's...
42 is just like, oh, it's pain.
That's the ideal age, but like, honestly, like I haven't regressed that much when it comes to...
No, but that's what I mean by peak.
I think
ideal.
This is the thing. Okay, so we're using a pickup game as a point of reference.
Right.
So obviously when we're younger, we're probably going to be able to do more, have more fun, and then like get done and not be sore.
Right.
But then off the court, which is more time than we spend on the court, right? Is that like, it's like the balance, right? Okay, like obviously, like when we're younger, we're gonna have a better experience playing basketball.
Right.
But then after we leave the court, when we're 25, we didn't have no fucking money.
Yeah, exactly.
like we couldn't go to the bar,
dude,
we couldn't take a girl on a date,
Yeah,
like, you know, like.
it's way different.
And if you did take a girl on a date, you didn't have any skills. Like, you didn't know what to talk about. You were awkward.
I mean, I don't know about awkward. I was always very
I know that time I was finding myself. I didn't have a lot of confidence to talk to girls,
really?
like, when
I
that young.
was pretty confident when I was in my 20s.
I was like, so if we go back to 25, I was super awkward. Then 32, I had confidence. You know, money brings confidence. A lot of things bring confidence, success, like in basketball and whatnot. But I do think that I'm just your own self-security, your sense of like knowing who you are, knowing what you
All
like.
of that stuff just gets better with
That's what I.
Yeah.
So you can't say that it's the same. So even if you were confident at 25, you're
I think
probably
I'm better
more
now.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. That's the question.
He was saying that he felt like his peak was still rising. You feel like you're still going
I feel
up.
like
You're
I
at your
can still,
peak,
I'm
or
still
you're
going up.
you're
I
gonna-
feel like I can still go up.
So where do you think you will peak? Like how long do you think? Because there's a physical limitation on everything. Mentally, there's no real limit.
Right.
You know. So where do you think? Where do you think your peak will be?
Maybe you're saying the physical.
If I was to guess, throw a number out. I actually did a test online about this. It said 52. I will peak at 52.
52. Well, Tom Cruise is like 57.
Yeah.
So, and he looks like he can do everything physically that he used to
I
do.
put in like all my information. Like when's it says 52. I don't know. I don't not believe it.
Well,
Yeah.
then maybe it's like this then. Like, okay, so like we're talking about our peak, and like the majority of the conversation was about our physical.
Yeah,
aspect, right?
that is
So, like,
deteriorating for sure.
As we get older, our physical will deteriorate. So like,
But everything
how
else
much-
is going up.
Like, so if we're fixated on that, then our peak is gonna like. Well, yeah, I mean, it was yesterday or it was a couple of years ago. But if we lower the amount of the physical importance and then like
Elevate everything, the mental and
then your
emotional and the
peak
spiritual
could
part,
potentially be later.
Right.
Because like Tom Cruise obviously can't do the same thing he could do now as he when he was 40 or 30.
But pretty close.
He's pretty-
If you
he's still
watch-
doing
if you-
all his stunts,
He trains like a
man.
pro athlete.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, okay, even if you train like a pro athletes don't get better after they turn 40.
But I mean, the difference between Tom Cruise and pro athletes, the pro athletes have the X amount of miles they did, so their body's deteriorating. Tom Cruise only does it when he needs to, so like he doesn't have that many miles.
I would say you're right on an absolute sense. Tom Cruise probably is not running as fast at 57 than he was at 25.
No.
The difference is if you take the average 25-year-old, even when he was running faster, a lot of 25-year-olds could keep up with him. As you get older, what 57-year-old can keep up with Tom Cruise now?
That's
So
true.
even though he's slower than himself at 25, he's probably 100 times faster than every other 57-year-old man.
I mean, no doubt he's for his age group, he's probably in the top percentile of fitness.
he's
right?
definitely faster than me.
I'm sure he looks great and all this kind of stuff, but it's like, you know, like,
the point of diminishing
yeah, you know,
returns.
when you're looking at where your peak is, like, it depends on like how you break that pie down. It's like, is it how much of importance you're putting onto the physical and the mental part, you know? Like, because
That
like,
definitely-
when you get older, you don't have to work out as much as you did when you were 20. Because I mean, when we were younger, we didn't really know what we were doing.
Yeah, we're so much more efficient in our workouts.
Yeah, like think about
and
your
our
workouts.
diet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Think
we're
about your
so
workouts
much
now.
more efficient in everything we do.
We should be.
So there's also like a point, I think, when you get older, you know, we're all in that thing where your strengths become your weaknesses. So we were talking about like how you're like, what's that Tom Cruise movie? When we're back on Tom Cruise, Minority Report, where they're predicting crimes before they happen. So that's kind of like what we're talking about dating, right? You're predicting potential problems. You're analyzing potential problems before they even happen, before even a second date, a third date. So how can you really know?
Oh, you know.
So
For sure.
when you're cutting off everything so quick, it's like, you know, when you see grumpy old men and they're like, oh, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Let's ask Master.
Hold on, let me finish. It's like in Korea, they have that word, gonde, right? And so what are the trademarks of a gonde? And so we're like, oh no, we're young. We still, you know, we look young. We still can hoop and do all this kind of stuff. The trademarks of a gonde is a guy that no, I don't want to hear it. I already know where this is going. Like, shut up. You're young. You have no, like, and this is what the young people don't want to hear, but it's kind of our strength, flipping and becoming. Do you think there's a bit of that?
Oh, I never thought about it that way.
Because that's what it is, right?
I guess.
Those people have seen everything. They've been to war and come back.
Let me ask you this. Maybe like on the same note, it's like these girls that you're dating now, like what's the average amount of dates that you go on before you cut them off?
Dude, super short. Like, like last time, I mean, honestly, like, terms of length of relationships, I do much better overseas. Like, I don't think the average Korean girl and me are like meant to be.
But you date mostly foreign girls here.
Anyway, but even like they get affected by.
They affected by Korea?
Dude, they get affected by Korea for sure, culturally. And like, as much as I love and I'm proud about being Korean and everything about Korea, like the dating culture out here for me is just.
What specifically is it?
It's just they're so emotionally needy.
So then
like, where are you? Like video chat me right now. I'm like, dude, I'm
식사했어요?
Yeah, like.
Also on that tip, then it's like this: like if you're looking for like a family and like that ideal situation that we talked about earlier, is it possible in Korea? With like understanding that Korea affects these foreigners in Korean
it's possible, but I'm thinking the pool is so small for me.
So it's possible, not probable.
Yeah.
So where does our young Mac find this girl? Where are you?
No, like you guys are not dating like you found yours overseas. Your girl's not Korean.
It's funny how America is overseas now.
It is, yo.
That's like home. It's like
it is.
You could have said I found her at home, but it feels like overseas. This is home. That was a really confluence of situations, and
it's tough when it's like, you know, the type of guy that you are and what you need in your life as a partner is a pretty specific type of person. It's very not everyone can fit that role.
And some Korean girls would be like, and I try to be as nice. I'd be like, because of the cultural difference, like I don't think it's gonna work. They're
classic cop out.
And they're like, no, but they're like, there's no cultural difference. I'm like, the culture difference is so real and the gap is so big.
Well, I think because you're a Kyopo, you have to explain the culture difference.
Yeah.
If I ever told a girl that, we have a culture difference, be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, you get the pass. You get the pass. Yeah, I don't have.
That's Honyar privilege.
That is Honyar privilege. I don't have none of that, man. Like,
no, it's tough. I think like, we talked about this with one of our other friends that came on. He's a Kyopo as well. I think it's really difficult. I don't think people understand how difficult it is for a Kyopo to be like on all these things, on all these different levels, dating too. Because like what Korean girls expect of you is different than what they'd expect of us, even though we grew up the same, or similar in America.
Okay. Yeah. So we're about at our mark, and I would like to. We have different marks. Eric, you gave him the pop quiz.
All right.
I'm gonna give you a little Kyopo quiz.
Okay.
So here's and I have like a solid idea that my wife gave me last night. She's Kyopo. So it's kind of like almost like how Kyopo are you? So let's talk. Did you grow up speaking Korean?
Yes and no, like Konglish.
Konglish,
yeah.
So like you spoke English outside the house, Korean in the home?
Like I spoke both at home, English outside the crib.
In the home?
In the home. At home.
Didn't even blink.
I did that too.
But he didn't even blink.
He's like, what? In the home.
What?
I go to the home.
Come on, Doc.
Okay. Did you go to Hangurakyo?
Nah.
No. So did you learn to write Korean in Korea?
Yeah, I just learned by myself.
You probably learned at church, no?
Wait, I guess I should ask you, do you know how to write Korean?
Yeah, dude, come on, man. The cookout messages, come on, bro.
Okay. So
but I honestly, I learned Hanta like not too long ago. Like when I
Hanta?
Like no Hanta, like how to type in Korean.
Hanta.
Yeah.
Oh, like I learned that.
I learned that.
I learned that before I could
school.
speak Korean.
Yeah.
Really?
I learned it because of Cyworld.
Oh, really?
I was on Cyworld trying
I remember
to
we were in the
write shit.
States. We were in the States at like a Panda Express, and like the 사장님 was like this Korean lady, and like we were trying to find something. And my brother was like, "Yo, let me check that out." And it was an American keyboard where like you put in something and you start typing. The lady was like,
nothing written,
like,
with no stickers that or the Chia and the Tiga. I know how to do it.
Because like the typewriter was like the keyboard was there, right? And like it was like you look up in the search bar and it was like GFQFFF like whatever, and the lady was just like,
yeah. Did you know you can do that on Naver? if you go into Naver and you put in like you're typing in Korean, but it's in the English version, it'll still give you the Korean results.
Really?
Like it's pretty smart. Okay.
Anyways,
So how many, like, did you have more Korean friends growing up or did you have more American friends growing up? Did you grow up in, you grew up in the OC, right?
Yeah, I had.
So that's real Korean.
I had two different groups. So my white friends, I played football like pretty much my whole like childhood. So I had my football and surf friends, which kind of like overlapped a bit. And then I
Newport friends.
Yeah, but I also went to a Korean church in LA.
Okay.
So I had LA Korean friends.
So I feel
but
like
they
Mac,
never overlapped.
I feel like Mac on that tip is pretty unique because he has friends from both sides. We're like,
Yeah.
I feel like most Kyopos are either all Korean or all foreign.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I had both sides.
I think that's interesting with Mac because he has both.
I think that's what makes Mac kind of like one of our more interesting Kyopo friends, you know? And especially the fact that you play sports. Okay, so that was my other question about Korean church, because that's like a huge part of the Kyopo experience, right?
You didn't go to school at Korean church either at night?
That consumed me from age 6 to age 15, Korean church. Like we'd go to Korean church like Wednesday, Fridays, and Sundays. Like my mom was like doing all this like volunteer work kind of stuff. And like, dude, I was like singing and stuff at church, and I was going on mission trips. I was really religious growing up.
Oh, we were too. I think the interesting about Korean church, and a lot of people, for our listeners in Wichita, like the thing about Korean church is it's not just church. It's Korean church is where you learn how to be Korean.
Yeah, for real.
So me and Eric, we started like in high school, and we had hyungs. And we didn't know what a hyung was.
Oh,
and,
damn.
And they're teaching us, I don't even know if we were old enough to drink, but they're showing us how to drink soju.
Right.
Because, you know, we eat Korean food at home, but you don't know how to eat it with your hyungs.
Right.
And it's like it's
a different experience.
And you see what the hyungs are doing and like what, you know, that was a time when everyone was souping up their cars and doing the Fast and the Furious thing. And it made me, going from our little white community, when we started hanging out with the Korean hunks, it's like, dude, this is way cooler than what we're doing.
Right.
They're out drinking soju and eating cheokpokum late at night when everything's closed. Yeah, because all the Korean restaurants in Huntingtown are open late.
I have a cool story about my first Korean hyung. So I used to go to LA Fitness 24 Hours, lift all the time when I was in high school. I was 15 or 16. This one Korean guy comes up to me. I think he was in his mid-20s. He's like, 혹시 한국 사람이세요? And I was like, yeah, I'm Korean. And he's like, you look like you like to have fun. I was like, yeah, sure, I like to have fun. He's like, have you ever been to a club? I'm like, club? I'm like, dude, I'm in high school, bro. He's like, what if I can get you in? Like, can you like talk to girls for me? And I was like, sure. And like, I was like 15 or 16.
He needed a bicky. He
needed like a wingman, yo. Like he was like a big buff guy, like looked very intimidating.
But socially awkward?
He was socially okay, but he was just like really buff. He's Korean. He was really buff and like
probably lonely. Probably moved
pretty.
over.
Yeah. He only had like one other friend. Like he would take me clubbing. I was like 15 or 16.
My first club experience was when we went on that Korean church basketball league, Korean Olympics 2, Orange County. Yeah. And we were hanging out with Yoon Choi and everybody. And we went to Karnak. I don't know if you remember Karnak. That was my first Korean club experience.
That was my first.
Crown Royal?
No.
Crown Royal?
That's so funny you say that. That was the first club I've ever was a promoter at. I was 17 or 18. I was still in high school.
I was like 14 the first time I went there. And I was like, this is so cool. The Youngs took me out. And nobody who was 14, I mean, 8th grade.
Dude, that was my first paying promotion gig. I was fucking in Karnak. Like, I think I was 17. I was still in high school. But like, I think I made like $4,000 or something the first time I threw a party there. But like, I mean, I was fucking
life-changing in high school.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking life-changing.
Okay, we're still on the Korean quiz.
All right.
Okay, Karnak was great.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. And this is kind of a sensitive question, but my wife...
the most important.
This is the most important, like, of how Korean you are. Okay. And this is more like a Nunchi podcast type a question. But dongchim. Did you ever do dongchim as a kyopo? This is how you know how much of a kyopo, because me and Eric, our cousins came to live with us when we were like in junior high.
So D, for our listeners in Green Bay, Wisconsin,
it means poop needle. Right? It's the poop needle game.
Right.
And so me and Eric, we didn't know many Korean words, but we knew don't go.
Right.
Which is funny because in English it's don't go there. Don't go there. Right. Stay the fuck away. So I remember we were in junior high and our little cousins come, they're like 5th grade. And I'm just looking the other way. He comes up behind me and sticks his finger in my butt. Right. And he starts laughing hysterically and I get pissed. And he's looking at me like, what? Young, like, what's wrong? Like, and so that's my first thing. And of course, I've seen it a lot. Like, even in a pro locker room, you got people doing like, don't you? And we're like in our 30s.
You were telling me a story about like the oldest young on your team doing it to the bus driver.
This guy, basketball legend, I won't name his name. Our bus driver was like 70, and so we'd always joke with him. We're at a rest stop, and he's smoking a cigarette, looking out at the mountains.
just hunting.
Think about this. He comes up behind a 70-year-old bus driver and dongchims him. Dude, flip the fuck out. He was like, "Ya imma, 이 새끼야. 어디다가 똥침을라." Like, it was like this nuts. So, have you ever played the Donko game? Or did anybody like cousins come on vacation and do that? And
I've had it done to me a couple. I've only done it to one person. I remember.
Oh, you've actually been the perpetrator.
I've been one time.
I believe they call it the penetrator.
Like, come on, Dag. I was living in Boston in my mid-20s for like a year and a half. We would drive up to New York on the weekends.
Don't
we had no, dude. Like, so like one of the homies, like he lived in an apartment and he couldn't. We had to do the climbing stairs thing. So we were drunk as this is like 4 a.m. like ocha, like up to here and like whiskey and tequila. We're going to think I was like, I think I'm gonna don't do this dude. Like he's climbing up the stairs.
This motherfucker, it's time.
I went as hard as I can. Dude, like everything went in.
Bigger guy, deeper. Don't chim.
It was a brother. He fainted.
Yeah. Carl Canais.
You knocked him out.
He fainted, bro.
That's an interesting choice for your first dunk chim.
Hold on. He was on the stairs?
He
fainted and he fell on you?
He fell on me, yeah.
That's
no joke, he fainted, bro. It's like 4 a.m. in New York, man. This was almost 20 years ago. I still remember vividly.
And you've never been dunk chimmed in your life?
I've been dunked a couple times before.
What's your reaction? What was your first reaction?
I was like, bro, why?
You're like, stop, quit it.
No, I was like,
okay, one more time.
What was happening? But then I didn't know what a dunk team was. And like they explained it to me. Like
in Korea or in LA?
This is in LA. When the LA hounds did it to me.
My wife, her story about the dongchim is that she was going to Hangulakyo and learning how to be a Korean girl. And so some of her unnies were doing the dongchim. And she was like, oh, this is a funny thing that Korean people do to each other. You know, she's going from like her whatever Hawaiian school. And she dongchims her 선생님. And the 선생님 turned around and was like, don't you ever, and it's Hangulakyo, he spoke English to her, I guess, and which totally 당황 made her so flustered. And he was like, don't you ever do that again. Like that. Can you imagine that Hangulakyo and a young like 7-year-old does that? And so then she was like, okay, like PTSD on the dongchim, and went home and her mom was like, what the hell are you doing? Dude. You don't do that to 선생님. Like,
I mean, that might be a reason I might punch a baby, man.
The boundaries on dongchim, like sometimes it's hard to know when it's okay.
I mean, what are the rules?
Dude, there are no written rules, man. There are no boundaries,
I'll tell you
bro.
one rule I know for certain. If you're with a bunch of people, don't be the first going up the stairs.
Right.
You do not want to be the first one.
Don't be in front of me, bro.
Not with a motherfucker like Mac behind.
Oh, no.
Don't be in front of
me. He'll take any opening. Okay. So, all right. That was our Kyopo quiz for today.
So hold on.
You still want to keep going on?
On our Kyopo quiz, how Korean is Mac?
We haven't really come up with a rating system. Right. I just wanted to ask
the scale? 1 through 10.
No, because like think about it. There's Kyopos that are basically, what do they call them? Twinkies or Oreos or whatever.
Right.
Where basically never been to Korea, don't even like Korean food, don't eat kimchi, and don't speak Korean. Like that's about as and are like more like whatever.
Yeah, like how American. Korean. Okay, so like because like a lot of times like Kyopos have trouble fitting in Korea, right? But then also like there's Kyopos that have trouble fitting in America, right?
There's Kyopos that speak broken English that were born there.
There's like a couple of our friends that, like one of our friends that wrote a huge like dissertation on this exact thing.
That's right?
Like where do we fit in, right? So like, do you consider yourself more Korean or more American or somewhere in between?
This is also something I thought about consciously. I honestly, there are parts of me where I feel like an outsider, both places. There are times where I feel like I fit in both places. Like when I'm in like especially when I was mad young, yo. Like in the early 80s in Orange County, dude, there were not that many Asian people.
That's hard to believe.
In my whole elementary school.
Because Irvine is like,
now, but I'm talking about like 84, 85 when I was first going. There's only one other Asian kid in my whole elementary school.
And that was us in Seattle, and now Seattle's crazy.
Same process.
Yeah, and it's like I felt like what I thought I was white, you know, because I did all the things the white kids did. So I was like, oh, and then like race became a thing And then for the first, I would say 10 to 12 years of my life, no one knew what a Korean was.
You were Chinese.
Yeah, I was Chinese or Japanese. Like 90% people say Chinese, 10% Japanese. And then like after the Olympics,
Korean is like, what do they speak Mandarin?
Yeah, it's like what type of Chinese is that? That's what people used to say when we were young. And then the Olympics happened in '88, and then slowly. Like now with BTS, like Koreans don't.
Now they sell soju.
So lucky, like the Koreans now.
7-Eleven.
Like in our lifetime, we saw globally like
Gangnam Style.
Korea as a brand go from. Like we were like
we're cool now.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on any other country, but like we were that country that nobody knew about. You know, we're like Yemen or something.
And now we're the shit.
And then now, like, dude, like it's crazy in our lifetime. I saw.
So think about this, like, because you've been here for a long time. You've been here for around the same amount of time that we've been.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth like 10, 11 years now.
So like obviously, like I think if you grew up in America as a Kyopo, like there's kind of like an identity thing, like where do I fit in, right?
Yeah,
which you went through, right?
For sure.
But then you come here, you're like, fuck, you know what? I'm gonna go to Korea where I definitely will fit in. And then you come here and you're like, damn, I don't really 100% fit in here either. So, like, but obviously Korea's been good to you because you're still here.
Right.
So you feel more comfortable here than the States?
I just feel like Korea's a better climate to live in right now.
Because of Corona?
The whole race thing.
And then the healthcare thing is a very important thing.
The first time in my life where I thought that healthcare had a top priority in my life, because it's like, oh, sick, whatever, go to the house, fine, it's fine. But like, dude, all my friends in the States, they're like, people don't even wear masks. They're just.
So let me ask you this then. 20-year-old Mac, who's just getting ready to come to Korea, right?
All right.
Now he meets 40-year-old Mac.
Okay.
He's going to be like, yo, man, in 20 years, you're going to be living in Korea. Would 20-year-old Mac believe you?
Nah, dude. I was a 20-year-old
20-year-old Mac challenges 40-year-old Mac to a drinking contest, and they both die.
He's like,
no, you stop drinking. No, you stop drinking. We'll just drink forever.
No, but like.
I think that's a likely.
Actually, that's probably like. I'd agree.
But honestly, if I can pick anywhere in the world to live, like
that's
I would.
The only reason I don't time travel.
Split time between Philippines and
Philippines
Bali.
Is great. Philippines
like,
is great.
I would say by far they're the most.
If we had more time, I would talk about our Philippine trip. But that's like a whole 2-part podcast.
No, they're like the most polite people in the world, dude.
Yeah.
Filipino people.
Oh,
man.
Filipinos.
Have you been to Alabang though?
Nah, we're mostly Manila and.
Dude, Alabang looks like half Beverly Hills, half nice part of OC.
Is that Manila?
You think
it's like an hour and a half away?
Out of all the places you've been in the world, you think that the Filipino people are the most polite people you've ever met?
In my experience, yeah. I've been to Philippines I think 6 or 7 times.
Oh, it's tough. Like, I mean, there's a lot of like if you go places like when we used to go back to the Midwest in America, small towns back there, everyone's super nice. I mean,
yeah, because you can.
It's tough.
You look white, dude. I would not get love in anywhere in the Middle America.
Let's get him.
Yeah, like.
No, but you know, honestly, we like when we went there, we were with our dad.
Yeah, so it's different.
If we went now, they probably.
I don't know now. You watch what's going on in America.
I would say like for me, the most polite people I've ever met. Philippines are definitely super polite. I would say Ireland.
Ireland?
Like I've never seen such hospitality in my life. Like the people out there were like and this was my experience, but like the people there were extremely hospitable.
I think it's like also like a city thing and a country thing too, because even in Seoul, I wouldn't say people in Seoul are like overly nice. They're just, polite or whatever. But when you go to the countryside, like when you go out to Jeollado, when you go out,
totally
like
different.
even when I lived in Daegu, which is a big city, but it just feels smaller and just people are like, they'll give you more of their time, whereas some people just don't have time to give.
So what's the friendliest city in Korea? Because you do business down in Sejong, right?
How's Sejong?
Sejong is cheap.
People are busy though. Those are like
they're all
and
working people. So it's just the cleanliness of it and how there's like no drama. Everything is clean. It's a really nice place to live, but
it sounds too boring for you.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
So nicest city, like just overall, you stop down the city, the people are gonna help you out. Where's the nice city in Korea?
I'm gonna go Busan.
Busan?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm gonna go down south.
It's tough to say, but lately me and Eric have been going to Cheonan a lot.
Yeah.
And
Cheonan
just
chill.
Cheonan, I just feel like, and it obviously because that's where our sponsor, like our team sponsors from, and rolling around with them. But I just feel like every restaurant we go to, everyone has extra time to like spend and like be curious and ask about how we're doing and stuff like that.
Also, you're a foot taller and different.
And we're probably more Shingie down there.
Yeah.
Oh, Weiguin.
Yeah.
Whereas in Seoul, it's just like there's tons of Weiguins down. Like people aren't Shingie.
Exactly.
I would say like for me, it would probably be Daegu because like
when
you were playing there, we used to go down there, and I was like, damn, everyone down here is like so like happy and like nice, and like everywhere we went, like it seemed like the people were really trying to take care of you. Like you could feel that jump.
I always said that too about Daegu because I lived there for 4 years. Koreans were like, "Are you serious?" Taegu, everyone's like, "Mutuktuke." So it could just be like a you and me thing, like where just because of our, we play basketball, or because we're tall, or because we're foreign.
Yeah, dude, like
there might be like people might give us more benefit of the doubt than
I'll
other
just
people.
throw it out there, but like, you guys have unique experiences just on aesthetics alone.
On your privilege.
Like you guys.
Or it could be tall privilege.
Like I'm telling you, aesthetically, like, dude, nowhere in the world you're gonna find two people of your size, and you guys are not. You're not as handsome
just
as me.
Say it,
you're not ugly,
just say it. He wants to say
You're not as handsome as me, but you're not. You guys aren't bad to look at,
Thanks, man.
with the size.
I'll take it.
With the whole mixed blood thing, like
that kind of sounds like a compliment from that.
It happens once in a while, bro.
10 years, man. I appreciate that, man. That was nice, man. Appreciate that.
No, but like you guys, everywhere you go, you gotta have a very unique experience, not comparable with anyone else.
So there was kind of like a lot of other topics we wanted to get to, but man, this was like a super quick hour with Mac. We'll definitely have to have you back on. We still haven't really talked about the details of your workout routine. We wanted to talk about anti-aging. We also wanted to talk about the Lakers, which was a huge thing, but we got kind of wormholes, no pun intended, with the Dong Gym.
There's a lot to talk about. I mean, because like obviously we're around the same age and we've been through a lot together here. And like
I want to do war stories next time.
Yeah, I mean,
which is dangerous too. My wife's listening.
It'll be fun, yo. It'll be fun.
Yeah, man. Definitely have to have you back, man. I appreciate you coming up and
appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure seeing the boys.
Hopefully we'll get you back on.
Yeah, be fun.
Yeah, brother.
Good times.
All right, man. Till next time, brother.
Well, that has been our PhaseTwo podcast for today. I don't even remember what episode.
Double Dragon.
And we gotta talk about that too.
Double Dragon podcast.
All right, guys.
They're officially changing the name Double Dragon.
Okay. We are signing off, but thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.